Greetings. A wonderful specimen of a human being told me that I should make an asym or something. One small issue, I can't code, and I'm broke as shit, so I'll do the next best thing. Make a shitty concept with terrible writing. Yippee! This story happens during an alternative version of World War One that lasted far longer. This war was so brutal that almost all of each country's resources have been dedicated to war, including the police force. Due to lack of security in the world, crime rates have increased rapidly, including murder. This has caused, indirectly, a specific group of murderers to believe they are reincarnation of the history's most famous serial killers. They call themselves the Legends Reborn. Each one of them have their own backstories and reasons to believe that this wasn't their first rodeo, but I will share the only one I actually bothered to write, the Ripper. Now, the Ripper is obviously inspired by Jack the Ripper, so here is his backstory. A man named Aaron Kominski, after seeing the boom of murder rates, wanted in on the fun. So he decided to kill his ex-girlfriend. The issue is that he was far too sloppy. In his rage and excitement, he left out too much evidence. So much so that even the extremely limited police force almost caught him within 2 hours. Luckily for him, the policeman was called off due to more pressing matters, right before he could find him. After that crushing near defeat, something clicked in his mind. If he wanted to do another murder, he needed to be smarter, more cunning, he needed to be uncatchable. So, within the ruins of an old library, he decided to look into history's most famous serial killers. And one caught his eyes, Jack the Ripper. By the way, in this universe, the real Jack the Ripper was much more efficient with his murders, with his body count being 20, and he didn't exclusively target or sexually assault women, so yeah, that's cool. So, thus, he decided to be, or at least try, to be as close as him to as possible. He self-taught himself surgical skills with dead animals and human corpses. This unorthodox method was due to all surgeons being called off to the war efforts. He decided to teach him these skills because the real Jack probably had surgical knowledge. He even started to wear the same clothes as him, consisting of a brown deerstalker hat and a dark overcoat. And he even dyed his hair black. This description is according to a shaky witness, take it with a grain of salt. And if it wasn't enough, he taught himself to be more methodical in his killings by hunting deer with an illegally obtained rifle, often stalking them for weeks. So after all of this preparation, he finally decided that it was time to put his skills to the test. He chose to stalk the father of his ex for weeks, and he learned his routine. First, he redeemed his food stamps. Then he went to mourn at his daughter's grave. Then he worked at a bullet manufacturing company. Then he went into the forest alone to fish. Then he goes to redeem another food stamp. After all that, he goes to the black market to sell his fish and buy clean water before going back home. After 2 weeks of stalking, he found the perfect opportunity to strike when he went fishing. Thus, with quick surgical precision, he killed him. With no concrete evidence left, the case grew cold fast, since there was no use using the limited police resources on a crime that could take months, even years. And then the Ripper got away. Again, and again. He was outdoing the original. Then he came to a realization. He dressed, acted, and killed like Jack the Ripper. And he was as good as him, if not better. He had to be related, no. He had to be a legend reborn. So a little while after the boom of murder rates, a mysterious man that calls himself the Investor saw an opportunity to make a lot of money. First, he made a company that restores hospitals, factories, training camps, etc. Basically anything that the country would want fixed for a good price. His employees are people he tricked or kidnapped into doing his work. Then he offered the world's most famous serial killers an opportunity to plunge their knives into fresh meat for a pretty hefty price, but they couldn't kill them. Considering that the civilian population was starting to drop, they weren't in a position to be picky. Thus, the main games began. And to make sure that everything goes smoothly, the survivors and killers are equipped with reverse bear traps that will go off if they don't follow the rules. The general gameplay is pretty simple. As a survivor, you will be tasked to restore different facilities so that governments around the world can use them. Example, a hospital. You will need to clear debris, rearrange/replace medical equipment, restore the power, clean the sheets, etc. Once completed, multiple exits around the map will open, and you will have to run through them to, escape. The main gimmick comes with the killers. They have to put you at precisely 1 hit point left. Killers are unable to kill you. Instead, they have to knock you out so that they can keep stabbing you for as long as you live. Every killer will also be equipped with abilities that heal the survivors so that the next hit will make them drop at 1 HP. Once you are knocked out, effectively being killed, you will take control of a helper bot. In that state, you can mildly annoy the killer by splashing oil on their faces, covering their screens, and completing tasks to help your remaining teammates escape. Also, no stamina bars because they're overdone, and killers would just be a lot faster, I guess. I don't know. The lobby would be a hotel that survivors and killers share. So during or after a round, you can talk with NPCs of any killer that isn't in the round. Except for the Ripper, he can't talk because he cut off his tongue to avoid leaving any audio recordings of his voice. And the shopkeeper could be Joseph Roy Metheny, or better known as Joe the Cannibal, or better known as the guy who sold human burgers. And he would sell skins, not human ones, perks, and different alternatives to the reverse bear traps for your avatars, like the bombs from Death Penalty. Next, I would like that the survivors could have a perk system, not the killers though. We are so copying DPD with that one. Instead of being straight upgrades, they would be more like side grades. Example, at beginning of chases, you start with a decent speed boost, but later on it gradually reduces until it actually makes you go slower. So it would be nice if you have teammates with abilities that could help you stun or slow down the killer. But on your own, it would be better for short chases and worse for longer ones. I would also like a character/perk selection menu. So basically, the survivors would be on one side of a plane that is heading towards the next map, and they are directly staring at the killer that is beside them. And everybody has the opportunity to look at what perks each survivor chooses, and what killer is going to be thrown at them. Finally, I would like to talk about LMS. During LMS, all the helper bots are deactivated and a timer for 2 minutes starts. You simply need to survive as a survivor, because when the 2 minutes are over, the reverse bear trap blinks and warns the killer to stop, with the little animation of the killer and survivor awkwardly finishing the incomplete task. LMS cannot start if the gates are open. And finally, reaching LMS will immediately grant the killer a win. So, gang, thanks for tuning in to my long ramble about the game I won't be able to make. I appreciate it. Anyways, make sure to like, subscribe, and have a wonderful day or night. Bye bye.